Today, we're venturing into the captivating world of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. If you thought you've heard it all, think again, and let's dive deep into the 5 craziest stories that unfolded on Joe Rogan's show this year. Number 5, alien abduction confessions.
Here's my issue with the alien abduction thing. Other than there's not like any real solid evidence that you could point to that's very convincing. It always happens at night. And it always happens during periods where people sleep. And when you're sleeping, I'm not saying always, okay, I'm sure there's some stories out there, I'm sorry. But most of the stories I've ever heard are people in their bed, they can't move, aliens abduct them,
Paralysis.
or they're in a car, the car stops, they wake up, aliens abducted them. When you go to sleep and you dream, there are psychedelic chemicals that your brain makes, and we don't know how much they're making. We don't know what effect that's having on your dreams. We don't know what is going on. What is going on with dreams? What is going on with vivid dreams? What is going on with dreams that they're indiscernible from real life?
Number 4, the time Joe Rogan trained with Shaolin monks.
Like that. And you,
Okay.
Of course, it's louder, right? You hear it, right?
Oh, it gives you like a little rhythm.
Right. So you do that first, right? And that's just to open up your brain, like to open that up, right? You do it while inhaling, exhaling, balancing your yin and yang. Right, that's one of the brocades. And so he made these 8 pieces of brocade, right? Brocade means like something is blocked, right? Right? Am I
Like
right with
blockade?
Right, so you want to open it up.
Right.
You want to open up your main vessels, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Of course, being your ears, your eyes, your nose, your mouth. You know, that goes back to Jesus saying the 7 churches. What is the 7 churches? And Jesus spoke to the 7 churches. Well, he spoke to the 2 eyes, the 2 holes in your nose, your mouth, and your 2 ears. So he's speaking to a man. He said out of his mouth came a double-edged sword. The sword, of course, no sword can come out of your mouth. Your tongue is that sword.
Double-edged.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Wu-Tang itself, right? This guy leaves the temple, goes to the mountain to meditate, and he's dealing with still meditation. Right?
Living with monks.
Yes.
What is it called?
Living with the monks.
Living with the monks. This is your new book.
Yes.
Why'd you decide to do that? And how long did you do it for?
I did it for 15 days.
That's enough.
That's more than enough, man. Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Go like this for an hour, your finger will fall off.
What are you doing with your finger? Up and down, up
Yeah,
and to
just
the
the
side?
repetition.
What did you have to do?
I lived with, there were 8 monks, 4 of which have been there for 50 years. 50 on a monastery, 500 acres, kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I went for 15 days. So I figured, I'd invested so much of my life on the physical side and ran 100 miles and just always active and this and that, and have really invested very little on my own inner work. And I just felt like, man, I just felt overwhelmed a little bit. And I said to my wife, who are the masters? And everything pointed to monks. And I said, I want to go live on a monastery.
There's something romantic about that, right? It's almost like the guy who goes off into the woods to write a book, like being with a monk, like, and just being, in a monastery with monks. There's something very romantic about that, right? That you've shed all your worldly belongings and you no longer care about the day-to-day nonsense that everybody is fixated on. You just decide to just home.
Yes.
Home all day.
Number 3, Elon Musk's lunar vacation plans.
Could you colonize the galaxy in a million years? Absolutely. The entire galaxy.
So you would start with Mars, build bases on Mars, then
Yeah.
use Mars to jump off to all these other planets, set up places there, and
Yeah.
over thousands of years easily.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
kind of like,
So
hop from
that's-
one solar system to the next, and yeah.
It seems like that's imperative. Like that has to happen if the human civilization is going to survive. Because our
Yeah.
planet is we're too subject to natural disasters and our own folly, and if the species is going to survive,
Yeah.
we kind of have to escape.
It's mostly about
Number 2, DMT Chronicles with Terrence McKenna's Ghost.
High school, I read some article about that guy that is the big DMT guy.
Terrence McKenna?
Yeah, because I think he projects a lot of his own horseshit into it. But that stuff,
That
the
McKenna
feeling,
does, or the
McKenna just, let me tell you, when I never felt a thing that felt so much like not making me hallucinate, but like
Right.
it was taking away a hallucination.
Yes.
And that is there's something so terrifying about that, but it's also like, wow, that's great. Like,
Right.
And you feel like there has to be, just based on the shit you would see. Even if it's just shit in your head, you're like, why would that even be in my head?
It's entirely possible that whatever the fuck consciousness is can pass from this stage into another stage. And the only reason why I would hesitate to say that's exactly what happens is because there's no proof one way or another. But it's
Number 1. Joe Rogan epic rant about bears.
They don't want to shoot Yogi and Boo Boo. They're our friends. This is a teddy bear. I grew up with a bear. You don't know what a bear is. I've seen a bear in the wild. When you see a bear in the wild, you're like, oh, you don't give a fuck about me. You're some weird, heartless beast that is majestic looking, who runs around eating moose and deer babies. That's what your deal is. You eat grass and berries and you like to lay around. You're fucking cool as shit. It's a cool ass animal.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you hate it, but you gotta understand what the fuck it is. It's not like this idea like people don't want people to hunt bears in certain places, like particularly like they're trying to regulate the size of the amount of grizzly bears in certain parts of the country. They're like, hey, we need to keep a handle on this. Like a couple people get mauled, you know, people start walking through Yellowstone and get attacked. It happens like a little bit more rapidly. The numbers get to a certain, they're like these things have no fear of people. Like we can actually help the population.
There you have it. The 5 craziest stories that unfolded on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. From bear wrestling to ghostly encounters and lunar vacations, the JRE podcast continues to push the boundaries of what's possible in the world of long-form conversations. If you enjoyed this journey through the wildest moments of the JRI podcast, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-blowing content, for all the latest updates from the world of podcasts. Until next time, keep exploring the limitless realms of human curiosity.